Hello, I got booted before I even started. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Come on in. I know you're probably. I came back. It's part two. The oopsie, the oopsie doopsie. So I know Lexi came in, and then she's probably like, "Where did she go?" So I'm all snuggled up right now. I have my comfy sweater on. I have an electric blanket. Um, It looks like something fell on it, but anyways, my electric blanket on, the heat's on. Man, it's cold in my little abode. It's cold. It's cold. So, welcome back, everybody who's coming on back. So sorry about coming in and disappearing. Even got my husband's cup, best grandpa ever, having a cup of tea. So, man, what a day. It was a pretty good day, but it was a very um with that Mars opposition, I think it's, combating or, opinions and options. And then the moon was on the American moon, on their natal chart, which is really crazy war and stuff like that. It talks about war, crazy moon. Um, Mercury's not happy where it is anyways, and so looking for answers. So I think that's the whole thing. A lot of people are looking for answers right now, and trying trying to find a needle in a haystack and then name that needle. I think that's where we're at. We're trying to find a needle in a haystack and try and name the needle, um, which is a weird analogy, but it's all of this, it's mutability, right? And changeability and being able to wanting to be in that change. Yet Mars retrograde in Gemini, I mean, it's a rare event, one, because Mars, is the last to ever retrograde. It retrogrades every 2 years. And we're building up to a full moon. And this full moon is going to eclipse. It's going to be like it's going to eclipse Mercury. Like it's going to block out Mercury and it's redness. So it's eclipsing all of this energy of wanting to go forward, wanting to do things, and you know, and that's with the full moon. And I feel like there's so much, like there's a stillness, but there's a busyness, like a bunch of bees working around you, buzz, 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 going around. So it's like you're within a stillness of a whirlwind. So so many analogies, that are going on, and so much happening at this time. And it is it's not to get stuck in your not to get stuck in old belief systems, right? So if you're finding belief systems, popping up on you that just aren't working, this is like showing you you got to start moving in a new direction. You got to start changing and start putting the steps forward that you need to put forward, and not staying in those habits, right? And I'm just reading my notes. That's what I'm doing. I'm reading my notes that I have here. Taking care of observations, opinions, flexible, mutable. It's just all of that, and more. A few things, the energies, yeah, the energies are just flipping crazy, and feeling really out, can get people feeling really out of sorts and aggressive, right? And I've been watching a lot on, when it has to do with things that are coming into Canada. And sometimes we're so focused on the world scene, sometimes we miss out on what's happening here at home. And one of the things is there was a commercial that was released, and it's getting quite a bit of traction all over the internet. And um, I think, where is he? Oh, finding finding my stuff. Anyways, Viva had it on and was talking about it. Ugh. And he was talking about it. It was on Redacted, and they were talking about it, and it has to do with euthanasia. And it's a corporation that took one woman's story, and they did an assistant suicide with her. So this has been on the books. Medical assisted suicides have been on the books in Canada since World War One. And now it's becoming where you are beginning to see it become trendy. Okay. Now, this is why when I talk about your belief systems, when I talk about your values, that's the whole thing. Values as humanity, as humans, is very important. When you don't have those values, when you don't have that connection, you lose the humanity. And this is where, within, looking at the astrology and looking at the energies, there's such a strong connection to come in to your faith, to come into your values, into your belief systems. There is a strong energy to come into this light, into this being. Yet if you are getting drawn into the lower energies, and like, you're like depression or anxiety, or feeling very low with yourself, this is when you have to really begin to find your community, begin to really reach out. This is a very active um energy to really have us look at our truth, right? And look at what that truth is for ourselves. Just one second. My cat wants out of the living room. Hang on, there's a door connect. Anyways, 1 second. Yeah. You were fine before. So, thank you. So, when you start to see um things like this, um that that's trying to convince people that it's okay to, it's medical, it's okay, you're depressed, it's okay, we can assist you in in dying. um there's another video that's going around about a young man in the hospital, and I think he has a brain tumor, and the specialist is coming in and saying, it's going to cost us $1,500 a day. So basically, I'm just paraphrasing here. Basically, it's better to kill, for you to die. It's that humanity. It is that part of humanity that we have to grab a hold on, and that has great importance, for us. And if we're not grabbing onto that, I love my hair tonight, it looks like shit. If we're not grabbing onto our humanity and the belief systems, that's when you really start seeing the craziness. And I'm going to say it's like the Babylon Tower, right? It starts, things start to fall apart very quickly. And in the astrology, and what I can see coming forward, that it's so important for us to really grab hold that um of that faith, when humanity doesn't have some kind of faith, whether that's in oneself or within their government or their church or whatever it is, it when it you start to see the dismantlement and questions, that's when a real huge push where you, me, and the world gets pushed to what they will allow and not allow. And that's when, it it reminds me of a story of the 1300s when taxes started to come out, and heavy taxes, and this was right after the plague, and they started to really tax the people, and the people were like, okay, 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 and they allowed it, and then they allowed it, and then they allowed it. It wasn't until um tax collectors were starting to put an extra tax on if you have a to make sure that you have a wife. If you have a wife, then your taxes are this. If you don't have a wife, or then your taxes will be more if you had a daughter living with you. And then they wanted to make sure your daughter was intact. And that's when the revolt started to happen, because they would come in and wanting to see if women were still intact, meaning, are you still a virgin or not, right? And if you're still intact, there was higher taxes or something. And that's when the people started to revolt, and they killed the tax collector, sent him back to the crown. And then the crown said, hang on here, no way, we're not going to do this. But the people were ready for 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 the army to come back. um but that's what it takes to for us to get to a certain point, and then we finally revolt. And that's where we're getting to a point where that we are going to be pushed. It's going to take us a bit before um people awaken to it. It still is. But when you start seeing commercials on that, and you start to hear doctors talking about it's okay, and they're even wanting to promote, if your life is too hard, or oh no, it's really hard for you to get a job right now, so why should you be here, kind of thing. Then you start to really see the immorality, and people really start to um get more angry, in everything. I remember my one of my eldest brother, who's no longer here, and his wife got pregnant, and it was with their fourth child, but very, very unexpected. And when they went to the doctor, and the second thing the doctor said to them, it's like, well, it's still in the early stages. And my brother got up and walked out, and well, his wife walked out too. He says, I'm not going to be with a doctor who does not want to promote life. That was part of my brother's beliefs. And 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 so be it, that's the whole thing. Are we in a time where we want to treat people like a dog? This is a conversation you have with a vet. So you have a conversation, when people can't afford to take care of their animal. Now I know there's a lot of animal lovers out there, and you do whatever it is for your animal. But this is like saying, let's say you had a child who had cerebral palsy, or a child who was born with Down syndrome, or a child who had leukemia. Would that be a conversation you have with your doctor to say, okay, you know what? It won't take long, and instead of you going through all this hardship, let's end it now. Those are the types of things that something like this that they're trying to promote is going to happen. And they play when people are at their weakest. So this is where, when I say what are your values, what is your belief system? We're seeing it on Twitter where Elon Musk came out and he is, anybody who's, about trafficking, children trafficking, anything to do about uh, sexual abuse with children and things like that, pornography with children and stuff like that. He's banning, he wants to get it off Twitter. And all of these stars are like, oh, how dare he talk about this, right? How dare he talks, how dare he does this? You know, it's like, wouldn't you want to have that as your platform? Wouldn't you want to stand up for that? So what happens to the father that went to jail for aiding in his daughter's death? Didn't he have cerebral palsy? I think so. I think so. And that's the whole thing. Um, this is where now they want to make it a beautiful life choice, and they're using this one woman's death as a promotion, and they're saying, well, this isn't really an ad for it. Well, he probably not. No, they wouldn't release him. But aided suicide. But the thing is that he aided his daughter. In Didn't he do it? He didn't have a medical assistance. See, this is a corporation with medical doctors that are going to be allowing for assisting death. So, which is interesting, you know. I mean, I find that appalling, to say the least. And it's bad enough with other things that they're trying to promote, let alone trying to promote something like this. And I mean, I can't play it on here because I will be, um if I play it on here, it'll get banned. So, yeah. I just saw that you are live. Yes, this is my second live. The first live I came on, I think it was on for like less than a minute, and didn't um it didn't it didn't work, and then anyways had to come back on. We're talking about a commercial that's going around right now about assisted suicide, and how they are wanting to really push it forward. And the other thing too, that and we heard a little bit about this that happened in Ontario about um your mental stability, right? So if a doctor thinks, and this is another scary thing too, thinks that you are mentally unstable because you didn't take the shot, then you're going to have to take a prescribed medication. And they're wanting to get past this through. So this is in Ontario too. So there's a lot of like very, again, when it comes to the values, when it comes to the belief systems, it's very, yeah, it is. It's very alarming. And this is where it's so important for people to really, you got to really look at the truth of um your value, the values and beliefs. A lot of times people, oh, I don't believe that, or that's not part of what I stand for, or what have you. But this is when we really have to look at what's, as a society as a whole, as humanity, what is important, right? The things that are going on in China right now, which are totally appalling. But we also have a prime minister that is saying, oh, they should rise up against it. They should rise up against and protest against any lockdowns and everything. Okay, are you the same prime minister that wanted to lock your people down? But when we rose up and said we no longer wanted mandates. So this is all part of that revolution, right? That revolutionary energy. That's Aquarius. Saturn's in Aquarius. Pluto will be coming in there. So you're going to have more of this revolutionary energy that's going to be coming forward, that is going to say, hey, this is not what we want. This is not where we want to go. This is not what we want to do. So this energy of the people is really going to start to rise up, and people are going to start taking note. And the thing is that a lot of times you'll turn your eye, you'll turn your back, you'll turn away until it comes knocking on your door. And I feel like this is where it's starting to come in and knock on people's doors and have people really start to awaken. And they're even talking about things, going back to the assisted suicide. You know what? You're in financial debt right now, and it's like really overwhelming you. I don't know if you can really get out of this mess. So this is an awakening, I think, for people to really start to look at what people need to start looking at, and look at what is important in your life and what is important for your community, and what does that community stand for. What does your community stand for? This is really important to look at that, those structures within your life, and build upon those structures so that you have a stronger foundation, and that commitment of people around you. And it's going to be important in the coming months and the coming years, to have that around. And the more you build upon it, the more you will find that it will grow, and that energy of the beauty, of the love and the light, is going to begin to foster and grow even more. you know so yeah, it's just, it's when Viva had it on yesterday. I don't know if you guys watch Viva at all. He's on YouTube, and he's on Rumble. And I think it was on yesterday, Viva yesterday. And he couldn't play the full thing on his YouTube either, because it would have gotten banned. But yeah. And then all the problems that's happening in China. That's my stupid thing. That are happening in China right now, which is pretty pretty radical. I mean, it's a lot of people who are, I talked about that there are going to be corporations that are going to make cities, right? And that corporation is going to be the corporation that takes care of you. And you work, it's like like the town has a mine, and that everybody works for the mining company and stuff like that. So these were corporation towns that you work for that corporation. iPhones has a corporation, right? It's a corporation. And in China, people work, they live in the building, they work at the factory, and everybody in that area works for the iPhone company. And people are now walking away. People are now not wanting to work for it. They are protesting. They are walking, they're leaving it. And then also with the fire that happened. And, we can't always get everything direct or straight from China. Well, we can't even get things direct and straight from our own country, let alone China. So, um, these are a lot of the disruptions that we're going to be hearing more and more of. And and these shaking up. So it's going to be an interesting few months, coming into December, January, February, and all the way up to March. It's going to be quite interesting, um, how crazy it's going to start to get, even crazier, and how things are going to unfold over the next several months. It's just, we're going to be hearing a lot more about not only China but Russia, and more of some of the things that they want to begin to implement in Canada. So I think for us Canadians, we have to start paying attention and writing our MPs, and really watching, for those types of laws that they want to implement in there. And it's going to be important for us to do our due diligence. You can't just go around like an ostrich with your head in the sand. Not that ostriches do that, but this is going to be an important part for all of us in in keeping care of our society, our community, and for our children coming forward. So that's part of the light work, and that's why a lot of people don't wanna go into the light work, because light work is work. It's not sitting around and being all lovey-dovey and, playing with unicorns and fairies and rainbows. I mean, that can be part of it, but, it's about work. It's about doing the due diligence. What is the modern druid of the world? The modern druid is the person who's involved in his or her community. A modern day witch is a person who's involved in their community, that does volunteer work when they can for, different organizations to help out, whether it's the food bank, whether it's women in need, whether it's cleaning up your community, right? This is very important. This is where, getting involved in maybe your political um community, showing up at town hall meetings. This is part of the light work. It's knowing what's going on, and it's participating in what's going on. And that's where we are going to be finding that push, where many say, well, I don't want to listen to the news. I'm not talking to you about listening to, CNN or anything like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what's happening in your community. How is your community taking care of the homeless? How are they, what are the things that they're implementing? And that's not doesn't mean throwing money. We know throwing money at the homeless does not work, but it comes down to an education to a lot of people that are homeless. Why are they homeless? A lot of it has to do with mental illness and the support that they need, right? So this is part of being a true, many of you who watch me are little witches, are little druids, are pagans. You are this is all part of doing your due diligence, of being in your light. It's not just being on your soapbox, you know, and talking about it, but there's a part that's doing it, and that's very important. And I know a lot of you who have grown vegetables, and were giving a lot of your garden vegetables to a local food bank, or they were, to a local community. I know here where I live now in Hillhurst, there's a fabulous community that really works to help people in need in the community, and they don't question, right? They don't question if you want to come in and you need help, right? Um and volunteering for things like that. So this is what we have to start doing, right? In from the cold is a big thing here in I think it's in many different communities, but in from the cold is where you help. They have different churches and stuff and communities that open the doors for nights like this, that if you want to come in and have a bed to sleep in, get a warm meal, something warm to drink, and you can stay there. And a lot of times it's families. It's amazing how many families are homeless. So these are the types of things that, as this energy, you feel the intensity of the energy. These are the types of things that we all need to look at and help out in however it's right for you. Maybe, for you, it's maybe a once a month thing, or once a week, or once every 2 weeks, or once every 2 months. And then you might be wanting to volunteer maybe in the springtime. Talk to your local community and say, hey, I would love to, help out in a local garden, and teaching the local kindergartens or the local schools on starting a garden. Or I want to start to do whatever, teach or whatever. These are things that we are going to be finding more and more, that are going to be in a need to assist people. And that's where, when people say, well, the light is coming in and the light's very strong. Yes, it's very strong, because you will have that backing, more so of the spirit, of the divine, and of the angels. The more we start working with that energies of creating a positive way in the world. And this is where you combat, um, a corporation that wants to make suicides trendy, like, and want to help you to assist um your child in dying, or want to assist you in dying because you're too much in debt. So I feel there's great change coming, but in that comes great frustration. And we are going to be feeling the frustration and the overwhelmness that comes with it. So um that's my two bits for tonight. That's my two bits for tonight. A couple other things. If you are wanting a turkey, this is such a slippery slope. Oh, Lexi, it is. It is, girl. It's this is yeah, we're trying to climb up that mountain with Pluto still in Capricorn. Um and the thing is, the sun, this, I feel like this is the longest new moon, because the sun really hasn't aspected anything. Um you know, and we're building up to a full moon, and the full moon's going to be out of bounds with Mars. Oh my god. This full moon is just going to be totally radical. It's just 16 degrees um in Gemini, you know. So my Gemini peeps, hang on, baby, because this full moon is really could knock you off your socks. Just saying. If you have a lot of Gemini energy, Gemini sun, rising moon, or you might have a lot of aspects in Gemini. Or you might have a lot of energy in the third house, which is ruled by Gemini. So, and that can affect you as well. So this is crazy. This is craziness, baby. And then Neptune's slowing down to go forward. You're already feeling edgy. It might feel a little bit more edgy. Uh, so, and because the moon is going to be so close to Mars, you won't be able to see the red. It's kind of eclipsing Mars, right? So it's sort of like going in front of Mars. I think it is going, yeah. So it's eclipsing. So that's a very rare thing to have happen as well. So, let's just bring in more of the crazy and the rarity of the energies. than what there already is. And then we'll have Mercury heading off into Capricorn and then slowing down because Mercury will be going retrograde right after Christmas, around the 28th, I believe. So we have that coming up as well. Oh my goodness. I just, you know, the exhaustion I've been feeling, I think for myself, and for this year, I'm looking forward to Saturn leaving Aquarius. I will feel that reprieve, and I can feel when Jupiter goes into Aries. To me, that because I'll have a meeting up to a Jupiter conjunction, which is a nice thing. Jupiter conjunctions are really nice. Um, for me, it'll be a time of really feeling going forward. I've had to take naps. Me too. Has such been glitching out lately. Yeah. Um, I feel like I'm going to get more of my energies back in the new year, and feeling more of my energies. For readings and stuff, I'm booking, as I said, it won't be till March or April for a lot of bookings, when it comes to readings. It's regrouping my energy and honoring it, because sometimes I don't honor, like, there's so many things that happened this year that you don't really realize how much of a toll it takes upon your body, um, until you sort of sit back and you start to look at it and say, "Oh shit, that was kind of crazy," you know? And so this is where now I'm like really honoring that and having to say, "Okay, you know what? This has been a really crazy year. This has been a year that has brought me to so many different transitions within my life and stepping me into new directions in my life. And some of the new directions have been absolutely fabulous. And meeting great new people and connections have been really, um, a positive one. And there's been ones where, things that have happened where, yeah, we've had to take a huge step back in a lot of things in our lives. And but honor that of what we do have, honor what we do have is so important, so very, very important. So on that note, I've already kept you guys here half an hour, and I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thank you for joining me, and just for being a part of my community, just knowing, I mean, I may not be on every day, but just knowing that you are all out there. And as I said, I know many of you who, for the classes this year, I didn't have the classes this year. I just honestly, I could not do them and give you what I fully wanted to give you, when it comes to the classes, because it just, I think the toll that a lot of things that have gone on within me, and things, the toll that it's just taken upon my on my life. So it's yeah, you've had a full plate, lady. Yeah, it's, and admitting that is a huge one. Having to admit that, yeah, you know what? It's been crazy. Hey, Roxy, leave her alone. Freaking dog. Um so it's been quite an event. So I'm quite happy. The year's winding down. I probably won't get a break, especially from work too, till after the Christmas. So after Christmas, then I will get, I'm gonna be taking a break, and um I'm gonna be taking 5 days off in January, the first week of January. And I want to take the time off while Mateus is off of school too, so that I don't have to get up and drive him to school. is your whole family's people of the year. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. It just wasn't it just wasn't it was kind of like a dominoes effect to the whole family. Um so it's but sometimes, it's a crazy thing. Hey, Raylene. You don't realize sometimes you don't realize everything or the toll, as I say, that it takes until it's all done, right? You just keep going and you forge ahead and you do what you need to do, right? And that's not a good thing. That really isn't a good. Yes, it's, to get through that moment, sometimes you just have to buckle down and get it done. But then you got to take some time and you really have to take some deep breaths, right? And you really have to honor your journey and honor the position and the place you're at. So, yeah, even the good stuff can be stressful. Yes, it can. Definitely. Definitely. So, but onwards and upwards, that's the thing, onwards and upwards. And that's where, honestly, that's where faith and your spiritual your spiritual energy is so um important. If you don't, you crash and burn. Oh, yeah. And having your faith, having your community is an important piece. And I know when I start to burn out, like, I just know it's just like I can't do it. That's, honoring. No, I couldn't teach. Like, if I had to teach the karmic release this year, holy fuck, no. That would be because I release as well, right? Every time I teach it, I release, and it's like, oh my god, I don't need to go through um a huge crash and burn, as Raylene says. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So, and even though some things that I teach are so beautiful and wonderful, but they do bring through an energetic change within you. And sometimes there's just so many energetic changes a person can take before they go into the loony bin. Hey, Lexi. So, it's just honoring that journey. So, sending you guys out so much love. Thank you again. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Thank you again for being a part of my journey. Blessed be. Yes, but you continue to push yourself. So I'm very proud of you for taking a pause. Blessed be. Thank you, Raylene. Have a great evening, everybody. I'm going to finish my cup of tea and cuddle with my cat and my warm electric blanket and watch a little bit more of some TV. Okay. Bye bye, everybody. Love you all. Talk to you soon.